magnificently echoed in the vision of the American founding fathers, who, remember, counted Morocco as one of their first allies ever since 1777. I would also like to remind our American audience here that in May 2010, President Obama signed bipartisan legislation that intended to promote a free press around the world, legislation that required the United States Department of State to expand scrutiny of new media restrictions and intimidations as part of its annual review of human rights in each country. The test will now be how these measures are implemented. I'd just like to close by congratulating Mr. NINI's legal team for bringing light to truth and justice. Thank you.
We'll now be taking questions if there are any.
You mentioned that Mr. NINI had health problems. What are they specifically? What is the state of his health?
Well, he's on a hunger strike. So
Well, aside from that, yeah.
Well, yeah. Aside from that, I don't have the specifics of his medical record, but I know his health is depreciating. Yes.
What is the status of the operating set at this point? Is it still functioning as normal, or has there been action taken against the paper itself?
No, it is functioning. There's an entire board and management, so he has passed on, because he was also the CEO, the president, so he passed on the, I'm probably going to go here, so. Yeah, so it's business as usual, with of course a lot of support in the paper on a daily basis from several domestic and international organizations.
Has the government made any statement about his case at all in the press?
Not that I know of. Actually, I was in a conference on another lawyer topic in Agadir a couple of weeks, and the Minister of Justice was asked about that case. And the judiciary not being independent, the Minister of Justice, about the specific case, said it's in the hands of the judges. I cannot say anything about NINI's case.
Are there any other prominent critics in the media who are considered at risk for the same sort of treatment?
In the media, you mean if the other journalists right now are? The
journalists in Morocco.
Well, potentially, because if the regime attacked the icon right now, don't even know what they could do to others. And one last thing about what you said, and it's clearly a message to all other journalists, media. So Morocco loves to do campaigns and reminders every now and then, and so it's a clear message to the others. You know, if you go too far, here's what could happen to you.
Good morning. I just wanted to ask: is Al Jazeera here this morning, and is there a way that? Yes, there are. Will they make it to? Will this report make it to Morocco? I'm sure it will. Oh, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, thanks. A couple of questions. I wonder, first, do you think that the wave of reforms that's affecting the rest of the region will affect Morocco, and do you think it's justified that it should, or are the changes that the king is making truly enlightened and progressive in the way that you've described?
The wave of reform is affecting Morocco, whether several parties and people like it or not. And December, Tunisia. February 20th is the key word for Morocco. February 20th, massive protest, unprecedented. Some peaceful, some over the months from February till now. Some went in peaceful conditions. Some were repressed for no reason by the police in a very severe way. Basically, police charged As a first-hand witnesses, I was there. Police just charged them and started beating everybody. You must leave. And you had thousands and thousands of people on the streets of Casablanca. So yes, it is affecting. And this February 20th movement, which proved to be more efficient than political parties, more than civil society, more than anything, is bringing the reform in the street. So the street, I think right now it's almost like there are no institutions in a way, because you have the highest decision makers and you have the street. Political parties for X, Y, Z reason are scared, shy, and so it is.
And the United States also considers Morocco in many respects the closest state to democracy within the region. And I think the human rights reports reflect that as well. So do you agree with that assessment, or do you think that this case is more of an anomaly, or is it more emblematic of the level of press freedom that really exists in the country?
It's emblematic and closest to democracy. It depends how close. It can be how close, very far. And also I say that Morocco does a great job at brushing up and maintaining its PR in the EU and the US. A great job at doing that. And we are. I mean, we love the rest of the national community, and Moroccans are very hospitable. So there's a good image. But there's very often a gap between the political decisions that are announced to the world and reality on the ground. We took this example of Rashid NINI, but just a protester died. The first protester died 3 weeks. Kamal Al-Omari, I believe his name was beaten so severely in the protest that he died. This was in the second unauthorized protest. And right after that, the government backed down and said, okay, for the next one, don't beat them up. Let them protest freely. I want to go back to one point that you mentioned. Why did we have this ongoing constitutional reform and announcements? I think it's definitely February 20th. It is. Chronologically, February 20th, first King's speech, March 9th, 2 weeks later, announcing that. Then the protest didn't stop after the first speech. Protest didn't stop. On 2 occasions, the protests were violent. Then they went back to peaceful. And then we had this latest speech with the proposed constitution. It remains to be seen how it's going to be voted on, and whether the people, so long as the elections are free and transparent, we'll see.
And how it will be implemented.
And how it will be implemented, absolutely. Because the constitution remains a document.
He said last Friday that he's committed to a freer press. Does the new constitution address this? Is there an article specifically addressing this? And also, who had input into drafting the new constitution, and who didn't?
The drafting of the constitution was given to a commission on the drafting, presided by a professor of law in Morocco. Some people have accused the government of granting a constitution. There have been consultations with civil society and the political parties and stuff like that. But so far, there hasn't been really, we just got the text of the Constitution 3 days ago, and the voting is in 2 weeks. There hasn't been like a large debate, maybe yet, maybe it might happen. In terms of freedom of the press being granted in there, I did not read it specifically line by line. I wouldn't be surprised if it was there, but that's not even the issue, even if it were there. So long as there is a mentality, a culture of oppression towards the press, you can have you could even bring the U.S. Constitution over there that you would still have abuse.
Assalamu alaikum. First, I have 2 questions. The first one is I'm going to ask a few questions about Rashid NINI. It might sound like I want to make it clear I'm not against him. I like Rashid NINI. And to be honest, from personal perspective, I liked Rashid NINI till the day I found false reporting about him. Mm-hmm. So this raises a question. Do you think...
From him or about him?
No, from him.
From him.
False
Okay.
reporting. And I can highlight one of the main ones that really come across the line. So my question to you, do you think he should face sentence fairly or not? That's the first thing. Did he have done something wrong or not? Right? Beside all what you said about him and all what's going on with the media, and yeah, we all understand that. We all know there is corruption, there is a lot of things hidden, there is still control from the police, and the judges are scared. That's true. Yeah, maybe he was trapped, but was he walking through the trap or he was pulled to the trap? That's a question, because first case I see two things. The case of Mustafa Salma with Sidi Milud, he reported that he talked to him. 2 days later, on the newspaper, Mustafa Salma talking live said, I didn't talk to no newspaper. And the second thing is he doesn't like to reveal his sources. And there's few journalists here in the state was served sentence because they didn't want to reveal their sources. Thank you.
No, I agree with you in partly that Mr. Nini is quite controversial. It's almost like he's looking every day for a topic to address, and he does it quite well. But he is a controversial person. Sometimes people don't know exactly in which trend he's going. He can today attack the government, tomorrow attack a political party. And there have been rumors that sometimes his reporting has always not been clear. But beyond that, what we are against here is putting a journalist in jail. And that's unacceptable, because you muzzle the press, and you will have no press if you keep doing that. So yeah, the press code, for example, has sanctions for journalists who misdo their job. You can withdraw their license, you can fine them, you can suspend them, you can do a lot of things with them. Exactly, and you know, I totally agree with you. I've heard this rumor a lot, and.
This raises one more question to defend all the journalists in Morocco. Why, particularly when it's Nini's case, because he's famous, because he's the director of the newspaper. Why you guys were not here? The group that defend journalists in Morocco was not here in the U.S. talking about previous journalists till today. And today is a very sensitive spot of the new constitution and thinking of more freedom of speech.
Why I can't answer this question precisely. Maybe they just didn't meet me at the time, you know. And no, there's definitely all journalists deserve the best protection. I know they have in every single case that where